like to dance, come on, do the cha-cha. Shawty Spanish, so she like to call me Papa. True fact, everything I do, they call me Flaca. Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha.
Oh.
Was that good?
Okay.
You're welcome.
Snaps.
That's what that reminded me of.
Snaps for Emma.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks. We are your hosts, Emma.
I'm Allie.
And for those of you that don't know us, we are two best friends who love to talk about our favorite horror films while drinking some sort of beveragino. We are also very active on our social media on Instagram and TikTok at Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks. And we also have a really amazing Patreon. I won't lie, me and Allie need to spend a little bit more time just really getting things all good to go over there. But we've got some really great Patreon members and they are fantastic. They are our friends and we love them. So come on, join us if you want to support the podcast.
Emma, would you like me to tell you what we're reviewing today?
Wait. Wait, that was right.
No.
Wait. Wait. Yeah.
Nope, still not right. But anyways.
No, I'm saying yeah to you asked if I wanted to know what the movie was. Yeah,
for sure. But we're reviewing the 1980 film Friday the 13th. If you couldn't tell from the top of the episode.
You should be able to tell. I think I did a really great rendition.
And just a quick spoiler alert, we spoiled the shit out of everything. So if you haven't seen it, drop off, go watch it on Max. And if you don't give a fuck, come along on this canoe ride.
Ooh.
Yes. Emma, what's up?
Oh my goodness, Allison. I am in the throes of summer, if you will. I wish I was at summer camp. Maybe Camp Crystal Lake. I've never been to summer camp. So I used to go to day camps a lot when I was younger, but I never went to a sleepaway camp.
I guess I didn't either.
So I kind of wish that I did, to be completely honest. But
what we haven't talked about yet is our fucking midsummer time.
Oh my God, you guys. We have so much to talk about. We could probably put out a separate episode just talking about Midsummer. We had a fucking blast. Quick shout out to the people that we really spent the most time with the entire weekend. And that is Katie from Katie Afraidy. That is Deandra from Sassy Sledgehammer. And that is our gals, Sydney and Monica. We also miss you too, Chelsea, from the podcast Spooky Tuesday. We talked with so many people. There's too many people to name, honestly, from last year that we met at our very first Midsummer Scream event and people that we have maintained really awesome friendships with over the last year plus. And we just love you all. You know who you are if we came and said hi to you. And we also got to meet some fans in the wild, which was
weird.
So weird.
But awesome.
We're just every day humbled, I feel by the fact that people love the podcast and just like me and Allie.
So if we saw you at Midsummer, thank you so much. We love you guys so much. It was a great time and we can't wait for next year and other horror events upcoming.
Yeah, if you guys have horror events in your state or in your city that you're oh my God, Emma, Allie, you guys totally should try to come to this, please let us know. We obviously hear the most about the ones on the West Coast, and those are the ones that we're more easily able to make. But if there are any in other states or anything, we would love to get some planning ahead of time to maybe come and see you guys out in other parts of the country.
Out in the
that
wild.
That would be the goal. Yeah.
We want to see you out in the wild.
In the wild.
Yes.
And Allie will most likely have friendship bracelets to give you.
Absolutely. So. And speaking of wild, what the fuck are you drinking today?
Allie. You know what I'm drinking.
I know what you're drinking.
I know. Okay, you guys, I don't know who I am right now, but I'm having a White Claw Surge, the cranberry flavor. This has 8% alcohol in it.
I've never tried one of those and I should.
You definitely should. I like the producer he thinks it's meh, but it's okay. He's not drinking it. He's drinking Liquid Death, which we also love. Liquid Death, please sponsor the podcast because that is my water of choice.
Also, please, White Claw, sponsor us.
Yeah, for the millionth time.
Please. Anyways, I'm drinking my classic 3 beverages. I obviously have White Claw, Black Cherry, Crystal Light Lemonade because you get Camp Crystal Lake. Get it?
Camp Crystal Light?
Yes.
Dude, they need to take advantage of that for marketing in October if they do not already.
Yeah, and it's still a thing, and it's delicious.
Someone hire us for your marketing. Crystal Light.
Yes, please. Everybody sponsor us. And I'm also drinking water from my big dumb cup.
We love your big dumb cup.
Well, in honor of this 28th episode.
28th? Yeah, 28th. 27th. Oh, we did this before. 27th.
27th. Cheers, fuckers.
Cheers. God bless Pamela Voorhees. Let's get into this goddamn synopsis. All right, so a group of teenage camp counselors attempt to reopen an abandoned summer camp with a tragic past, but they are stalked by a mysterious, relentless killer. I think, again, synopsis just really
short and sweet.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
That really tells you,
there you
almost
go.
everything you need to know. And this film got a 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb. I feel like I agree with that.
Yeah, and on Rotten Tomatoes, it pretty much agrees. On the tomato meter, it's 66%. Audience score is 60%. And it's kind of interesting because it's such an iconic horror film, but I kind of get it.
Like you get like why it's got a little bit of a lower score.
Because, as always, I might shit on this film.
We'll get into that a little later, but I think I actually maybe agree with you a little bit for once.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yay.
I think it is just so iconic, so that makes people almost love it. And I don't think it's the film that a lot of people love. It's just like the character of Jason. But we can get into that. We'll get into that a little bit later. This film was directed by Sean S. Cunningham. He has been involved in a bunch of Jason movies. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think I've seen them all. I've seen maybe most of them, but
I haven't seen anyone past the first one.
I would love to kind of go through and maybe just say that I have watched all of them and kind of tick them off the list. So,
didn't they do a reboot one with like hot people?
Yes. And there's also been like Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh,
like,
yes.
They've like crossed Jason X. The producer says that's his favorite. That's the best one. So
yeah.
They go to space. Oh, good. That reminds me of like Leprechaun in space.
Oh my God.
And Leprechaun into Hood.
We need to watch those.
We need to get
coming
on those
to you
ASAP.
next March.
Yeah, next March. Maybe we just go full Leprechaun the whole month.
We've now become a Leprechaun podcast.
I love it. I love it. This film was also written by Victor Miller and Ron Kurtz.
Good for them.
Good for them. And then speaking of Miss Pamela Voorhees, we have Betsy Palmer playing Jason's mother in this film. And something kind of cool is that Betsy Palmer said that if it were not for the fact that she was in desperate need of a new car, she would have never accepted the role of Pamela Voorhees. In fact, after she read the script, she called the movie a piece of shit. And over the years, she did start to kind of warm up to it, and it made her more famous than infamous. And she's like made several appearances at conventions and in documentaries to discuss it. She is now passed, unfortunately. So R.I.P. Betsy Palmer, but we love you.
Dude, I would do anything to buy a car. So you go, girl.
You get it.
Yeah, I get it. You keep calling her Pamela Voorhees. Is that her first name?
Yeah, that's her first name.
I don't know if I believe you.
It is.
She's credited as Mrs. Voorhees, but I also know nothing. So
I promise.
Also, the people that casted this shit picked her because she looks like someone you can trust.
Totally agree.
That's what scares me because I would trust her.
Yeah. Same.
And I would
with my life. Oops.
But yes.
And then we also have Adrienne King, who plays Alice. And she's not in a lot of films, but she's definitely done some obscure horror films. And then another kind of fun thing about Adrienne is that after the film's I guess this isn't fun. I don't know why I said that. But after the film's success, Adrienne was stalked by an obsessed fan.
Dude.
And yeah, she was very terrified, and she asked that her role in part 2 be as small as possible. She didn't take on any other roles or make any convention appearances for almost 20 years after the release of this film.
That's probably where she's like, fuck this, I'm not doing acting anymore.
Absolutely. And then we have Janine Taylor, who plays Marcy, Robbie Morgan, who plays Annie. I like that she was a stunt actress in Great Outdoors because that's a great film. And if you guys haven't seen that, it stars John Candy and Dan Aykroyd. Fantastic.
This is another one to put on my list that Emma and the producer just slapped me on the wrist for. Never seen.
Oh my God.
Yeah, fuck my life, right?
You need to know who Bart the bear is. That's all I'm going to say.
What about Bucky, the beaver?
Fuck Bucky.
Oh, fuck your shit up. And speaking of people that I love, Kevin Bacon, who plays Jack. He's my guy. I got to see him last year. He came out to play Footloose with Kenny Loggins, and I lost my actual shit. He also has a band called the Bacon Brothers, and it's super lit, so go check it out. And the first thing he ever was in before this was Animal House, and I've also never seen that. So I know you guys are going to kill. I know.
I'm about to quit this podcast. Like, I know it's a horror podcast, but holy fuck, I did not know this about you.
I am the worst.
I think we need to tell Kevin. Does he know about this?
Kevin
your
doesn't give a
husband?
fuck, yeah.
Well, I need to tell him that he needs to take you on a marathon.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
I would have to take him on a marathon because he's just playing.
Right. He kind of hasn't seen a lot either.
He's playing Warhammer the whole time. But
wait, can I say one thing about Kevin Bacon real quick?
Yes.
Tremors, Hollow Man, Mystic River.
Yes.
I'm just sorry. I just have to mention that those are just a couple of my faves. But anyways, keep going.
What I was noting in my notes, every other character, I love you guys, but it's an ancillary character, like a camp counselor that probably dies. So we love you and thank you for your service.
Thank you for your contribution. Yes. Diving into the lake of fun facts here. This movie was filmed at Camp Nobiboshko.
That can't be real. Babushka?
In New Jersey. And the camp is still in operation and has a wall of Friday the 13th, 1980 memorabilia to honor that the movie was set there, which is so sick. And can we go?
Well, what I was saying is like, no, why would you go there? But then I thought of us and we would definitely go there.
I will go there in a heartbeat.
Should we go?
Camp Nobiboshko, please invite us.
We're coming for you.
We're coming. Another kind of cool thing was that Tom Savini was one of the first crew members on board for the film because the producers idolized his special effects makeup in Dawn of the Dead from 1978. Love when stuff like that just intertwines and people from other awesome horror movies are able to work together. That's so cool.
That Dawn of the Dead is probably my favorite of the
Deads.
Of the Deads, yeah.
Of the Dawns of the Deads.
They're in a mall? Fuck yeah.
Reminds me of Chopping Mall. This film was also inspired by both Halloween and Meatballs, which is a teen sex comedy set in a summer camp, which had come out shortly before. They were both big hits. Obviously, we all know Halloween, and they were kind of focusing on this youth market, and I think they really hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, and the composer,
Manfredini.
Harry Manfredini, you guys all know I'm really bad at pronouncing things, came up with this now classic and iconic, Emma, you're on. That was good? I don't know.
What the fuck?
Producer doesn't think so.
Oh, fuck, yeah. Way better.
But so the composer Harry's voice is actually the one doing those notes. And yeah, so good for him. I think that this was a generation of iconic but very simple horror movie sounds like Jaws, like and I'm not shitting on composers, but and then Halloween. Emma's gonna fight me on this. Go,
Allie. Why don't you tell them what you said earlier? You didn't say the word simple. It was lazy.
Okay, I did. You know what? You guys,
before we started recording, Allie and I had a hot debate and we were like, we have to save it for the podcast. But Allie was like, yeah, I just feel like a lot of the music in these movies is just so simple. And I was like, excuse me.
Okay.
Because they are simple if you were to look at it on like a piece of paper, maybe. But damn.
They're iconic. So like good for them because they have more money than me. So it worked.
So obviously something worked.
Yes. And our last really fun fact is this came out on May 9th, 1980. Why does that matter? To anybody else than me, I was born on May 9th, 1991.
11 years later, baby.
11 years later. So you're welcome, everyone.
Dude, if only it was 13 years later.
That'd be sick.
Sick.
But here we are.
That's a good question. Yeah, why did this not come out on a Friday the 13th?
That would have been good marketing.
Were you? I'm so dumb. I was like, were you born on a Friday?
Dude, 1980?
Well, you weren't born on the 13th either way, so I fucked up. Okay, anyways. Okay. All right, spooky fuckers. Welcome to summer camp. Let's get into this film. So for our opening sequence, we are at Camp Crystal Lake in 1958, and we have two camp counselors, Barry and Claudette, love the name Claudette, by the way, they sneak away from a little campfire, sing-along, kumbaya.
Yeah, like a kumbaya. I watched this with Lisa. Shout out to Lisa, my mom. It's actually called Down the Valley.
Oh, cute.
And it's a known camp song. But again, we didn't go.
We didn't go, so
We don't know.
And they're sneaking off to a cabin for some sexy time. And they are interrupted by an unseen person to the audience. And we see that they are both brutally murdered. And the assailant stabs Barry in the guts. And then they also chase down Claudette and slash her throat.
This was also the first time we heard the Emma.
I did it.
You did it. You did it.
I did a good job.
And this is also the first time that we get the first person POV of the killer in this movie. So,
is this the first time that we've gotten a killer point? No, it's not the first time we've had like a killer point of view in a movie.
I don't remember when Halloween came out.
Well, and I'm also thinking like, didn't Black Christmas also have some point of view?
Oh, you're right.
Right? And that I think was before this.
All right, someone
never mind.
DM us.
Yeah, let us know. I also love that it's so obvious that they're gonna go bone in this scene.
Their outfits are also like so fire. Why can't we have camp counselor outfits? Wait, merch drop.
Wait, that is a fantastic idea.
I know.
Oh my God.
Yes. Sorry for your awakening of my thought.
Can we be like camp spooky fuckers?
Yes. Oh, I love it. Let's do it.
Do you like it? I also love this scene because Allie and I have a good friend named Dodge who has told me some fun stories about his time as a camp counselor. So Dodge, if you're listening, I hope you're cracking up right now because you know the stories I'm talking about.
Yeah. Period.
I also love in this beginning scene the title sequence with the glass breaking and like the quick zoom in and it looks all 3D.
Doesn't
it looks so
look
cool.
Like a little bit updated?
Like remastered or something?
Yeah, remastered.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because
someone let us know if it was remastered.
Yeah, to me it looks like it's like remastered.
Maybe. I think we watched it on HBO. So
I mean, yeah, we all did.
I wonder what version they have.
Or maybe they were more advanced back then than I thought. I don't know.
They might have been. I also want to say too that Sean Cunningham, the director, he got financing for the film solely based on this title shot. And
what?
Yeah, they, I guess, loved it. And he had no script or story idea yet, which is crazy.
So now we're in present day of 1980. It's June 13th, a Friday. It's a Friday.
Friday. Getting down on Friday. Anyways, sorry.
I have a lot to say. Anyways, so we're here in New Jersey, in Hope, New Jersey. And a young bitch named Andy is hitchhiking. Also, don't fucking hitchhike, please. Don't. And
don't do it.
Yeah, but she has all of her stuff with her, and she goes into a diner and asks for directions to Camp Crystal Lake. Everybody in the diner is like, "Bitch, are you talking about Camp Blood?" And I'm like, what? Isn't that a warning sign enough?
Also, I have a controversial opinion, but like, come up with a better name.
Camp Blood?
Yeah, like that's like boring.
It also doesn't really make sense.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. And then some nice ass man offers to give her a ride to Camp Blood, which was also a different title name they had in mind. It's like Welcome to Camp Blood or something. But he offers to give her a ride in his truck. He drops her off at like a fucking cemetery, which I don't hate it.
The cemetery reminds me of the Julian Cemetery.
That's what I was going to say.
The setup is the same. And the gate, like leading to it, totally reminds me of it.
So if you don't know, that's my favorite cemetery and where I want part of me to be
laid to rest.
Good terms. Yeah. I love that you said that. But the cemetery happens to be halfway from camp, and now she has to fucking figure out how to get the rest of the way to camp to be a cook.
Before they actually even leave the diner, a weird guy named Ralph tells Annie on their way out that she's never going to come back from the camp. It's got a death curse, which if that's not telling, I don't really know what is.
I mean, trust your gut, but maybe also trust Ralph's gut.
And the entire diner telling you it's cursed, basically.
Yeah.
And I also just want to say little Annie is so cute. I just love her look, her hair, her little freckles, and y'all know she's not going to make it very far in this film. She is a first girl, but it makes me sad because I really think she could have gone the distance.
Well, she's really cute, but like if you're hitchhiking, you're asking for it. Sorry, everyone.
You heard it here first. From the first girl herself.
I mean, and I would probably do the exact same thing, but I'm like, bitch, you're asking for it.
Another thing I want to say too, before she gets dropped off in the cemetery, is that the truck driver guy is also telling her in the vehicle as they're driving about the horrid past of the camp. And he's talking about a kid that drowned. He's talking about 2 camp counselors that were killed, which is what we saw at the very beginning of the film.
Oh boy.
Yeah, when he drops her off at the cemetery, it's like, okay, girl, now you just have to like continue your trek to camp, basically.
I mean, good for her for like being like, all right, what the fuck? Yeah, sure.
She's solution oriented. She's like, I'm just going to keep walking then.
She just wants to cook for some
children.
campers. Kind of weird. But then we see a bitchin' Ford that is going down the road with 3 horned up teenagers. They're traveling to Camp Crystal Lake. Someone's playing a banjo in the car, which that's one of my goals, to learn how to play the banjo. Yes.
I love that. It's a great goal.
It's going to be very
And then
hard.
I'll learn to play my ukulele and we can play together.
Fantastic.
Maybe we can start a separate TikTok where we're called the Horror Uka Banjo Ladies.
Love it.
And we play horror music.
All right, let's copyright that.
Okay. Producer, write that down.
Can we also just
do it for fun? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, sweet. I'll take some lessons. It sounds weird, but I genuinely I think I would enjoy going to this camp because it looks pretty lit.
It looks super lit.
Maybe that's because we haven't been to camp again.
We think all camps are lit.
Yeah.
After this car of, I believe Allie called them horned up teenagers,
yes,
arrives at camp, they are welcomed by the camp owner, Steve Christie.
And he's like fucking chopping wood in no shirt and jorts. Hot.
Thank you. Oh, I was going to ask
Hot.
if you agreed.
Yes.
So I'm like, he's arguably the hottest of this whole film.
I'm in
too.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, he's working hard to get the camp ready for summer. And we also see Alice, who is kind of get introduced to her as well.
They have so much sexual tension.
There's a lot of sexual tension.
Like something happened and they're not great at the moment.
Yeah, you can tell that there was a situation that they're trying to address.
So
I think this was before HR, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Later on, as the counselors are kind of being assigned their job duties and all of that jazz, we see Steve and he's telling the team that he's going to head into town to get some supplies, and the counselors are sort of free to work on their various projects and enjoy a little bit of downtime. And we have a series of things that kind of happen. We have Ned, who's playing a couple pranks on everyone. Jack and Marcy are flirting. We have Alice. She's expressing her uncertainty about staying at the camp.
Yeah, she wanted to fucking bounce.
Yeah.
May I make one note?
Yes.
And I hope everybody understands what I'm saying. Alice and Jack have the same haircut, and it's a Dorothy Hamill haircut. Please notice that.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
They do.
And I also want to say that it did remind me of when the producer came home after a haircut about a week ago, and he said that he looked like Ellen DeGeneres from the 1990s. But it was so cute. I'm obsessed.
Okay, well, you're obsessed. That's great. I love it.
So then we also see Brenda, and she's trying to set up the archery range. And as this is happening, there's a sudden arrow shot next to her. You're thinking as the viewer that there might be some shit going down right here. But of course, it was just Ned trying to fool around. Little tomfoolery.
Fucking Ned. I'd be so pissed.
I know.
Also, we'll see archery as a huge theme in this movie in one way or another. Question mark?
Maybe 2 or 3 ways or another. And then we're back with Annie, you guys. And she hitches a ride to camp with another driver. So a Jeep pulls up and it is not the same Jeep that Steve took to go into town. This is a totally different Jeep.
No shade to Jeeps.
No shade. We love a good Jeep.
We love a Jeep.
We only see Annie's face talking to the driver, so we're in the point of view of the driver. And she's talking to the driver, and the driver's kind of suspiciously quiet. And the driver starts to speed up and passes the entrance to the camp.
I'm not going to lie, I kind of don't like Annie. Is this mean? I should be supporting.
I love Annie. She's just too trusting. Is that what you don't like about her?
Oh, shit. Okay.
Oh my God, that's literally you. So Annie starts to panic because the driver has passed the entrance to the camp, and I think she's finally starting to realize that things are not kosher.
She fucking yeets herself out of the car and starts running through the woods. I'm not sure if that's the best plan. Also, poison oak.
That's probably the least of her worries.
That's true. That's the most of my worries.
And that is why Allie
I
is
am
the
a
first girl. Well, and the driver gets out, like stops the car and gets out and chases her into the woods, catches up to her, and slits her damn throat. And I am so sad because, like I said, I really had some hope for Annie girl. She's so cute.
It wasn't a bad throat slitting situation, though.
I was going to say.
It was pretty good.
It's a pretty good one.
good.
I love a good practical throat slit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not for Annie or anybody, but just for ours.
Sorry. Yeah, like not in real life. But yeah, let me just clarify that. So then back at camp, the counselors are now all at the dock and they've got their suits on. I think they're trying to pull different pieces of the dock together, but they're also kind of messing around and having a little bit of water time.
Well, I love that before this, when they were with Steve being introduced, he's like, this is what I need you to do before X, Y, and Z. And then they're like, cool.
We're going to fuck around.
We're going to fuck around.
Yeah. Well, and as they're out there swimming and having a good time, Ned pretends to drown. This scares everybody, obviously. Jack jumps in. Bill jumps in. People are trying to get to him. They get him up onto the raft. Brenda is trying to perform a resuscitation, and Ned kisses Brenda, revealing it was all a prank. And all I have to say about this is very Sandlot coded.
Oh my God, you're going to hate me.
Oh no. What were you going to say?
I've never seen The Sandlot.
You should see the producer's face right now. He is defeated.
Oh, man.
Can someone please, that is a listener, make a tracker of the films that Ali says that she has not seen that are true classics across every genre? I would appreciate that.
I'm very sorry.
Maybe Todd, if you're listening. Todd used to give us tallies of the words that we say the most. Maybe he can do that. He doesn't have that much time, is what the producer said, because it's too much time to put together the list. There's too many movies.
Okay. Wow. I'll just go fuck right off.
It's okay.
Yeah. Was Ned the one that gets jealous of?
Yes.
Okay. So Ned is the one that faked it so Brenda would kiss him. Drama.
Well, and Allie doesn't get that because it's a Sandlot does the same thing.
Is it the...
It's Wendy Peppercorn.
Yeah, the
man with the glass squints.
Hold on.
I don't think it's a lost cause.
No, the lifeguard, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I get some of the reference.
She's got some context clues, probably.
She's wearing a red
bathing suit.
Yes.
No, I know the sound. I'm saying the Sandlot was probably copied Friday the 13th. They were like, damn, that is a good idea.
Damn.
I'm going to use that.
Love.
As all of this is happening too at the water, someone is watching them from the woods. Brenda even makes a comment while they're out there that she's just kind of looking in the woods and you could tell that she feels like something's off or maybe someone's watching them. But that's all that really happens. And then later on in the next scene, we see Alice in her cabin and she finds a snake, a black snake, and the rest of the crew, counselors, they all come in to help her. And it's a very chaotic scene. And Bill kills the snake. A fact, I'm not going to say a fun fact because it's not necessarily fun to kill animals, but a fact about this is that the snake that was killed in this film, it really happened. So Bill really killed the snake, and what you are seeing on screen is all real.
I low-key, high-key hate that because I am a Slytherin. So don't come for me. Like, don't kill me, please.
But then on the other side, the producer loves this because he hates snakes. So when we watched this, he definitely did a slow clap.
Problematic.
Problematic.
But also Bill, which is kind of crazy, is being Crosby's son.
So cool. What's that like to have a legend for a father?
Okay, White Christmas.
Is that rude? It's kind of rude to my own father. He's a legend. Johnny Cat.
They're all legends.
Yeah. After the whole snake incident, we see Ned outside fooling around with his tomfoolery again.
He's in his underwear and he has a native headdress on. And I love his energy, but like, what?
But like cultural appropriation.
Also, aren't you at work?
Yeah, like where did you get all that, buddy?
Well, no. Should you be doing this
that?
at
Yeah, that's
work?
true. He's also half naked.
Yeah.
And anyways, they get a visit from an officer on his motorcycle, his motorbike, who is searching for Ralph specifically. And Brenda says that they never saw anyone enter the camp, so not that she knows of.
He's basically telling the kids, don't do drugs, maybe doing pot. I'm not hip.
Maybe he's doing the pot.
Doing the pop. And
The pop.
I'm so bad with drug things. And he also says, make sure your nose is clean.
Oh, yeah, he does say that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Wait, and then what does he say to Jack? He goes, are you high?
Yeah. Rude. But before Officer Dorff bounces, he's like, just don't do drugs, kids. I'm like, okay, DARE program. I see you. I feel you. Just like Celine Dion would say.
Every night in my dreams, I see you.
Makes me uncomfortable.
I did sing that song at my aunt's funeral when I was 11.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, just saying. Everyone in the family brings it up to me all the time. They thought it was a great performance. Anyways,
That's a
moving
random
on.
grab right there.
Now we're changing scenes and we are in the kitchen with Alice. And Alice is cooking, trying to set up for dinner. And she's doing this with Marcy and Ned. And as she opens the pantry, Ralph in the flesh is standing there very creepily, freaks her out, and then approaches her and says, I'm the messenger of God. You are doomed if you stay here. This place is cursed. Cursed. It's got a death curse.
Also, maybe fucking listen to Crazy Ralph.
Thank you.
Right?
I feel like this is a common theme in horror films. Whenever the crazy guy has some experiences that he's been through that he is crazy from,
Yeah.
you should maybe listen to the
Maybe
man.
fucking listen. Trust the crazy sometimes. Also, he should be eating goldfish.
Okay.
Because also, why is he in a pantry?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
should be eating snacks.
Cheese.
And as he runs out of the cabin, he runs out to his bicycle and Alice looks at him and he says, you're doomed. You're all doomed. And then Jack is there as well and says to Alice, I think we just met Ralph.
I love how they all experience this and they're like, wow, that was weird. They just keep going on with their day. Super cash.
I also kind of like Ralph. Like Ralph knows what's up.
Dude, he's trying to warn fucking everybody.
Also, did you notice that when he runs out of the cabin to his bike, he's like running like Jack Sparrow?
If you could see us right now, we're like doing the Jack Sparrow
I
run.
think he's a modern day Jack Sparrow.
Or perhaps Johnny Depp adapted that from this
Ralph.
movie. Yep. Mhm.
You know what?
Yep.
I'm going to say that might be it.
Yep.
I love it. So funny. And after this whole Ralph situation, or Jack Sparrow, as we like to call him, Alice is finishing making dinner, and the dude counselors, I'm going to call them, they are talking about a backup generator. I think they are all sort of prepping for a potential storm that might be brewing. And so Billy, Brenda, Jack, they go and they check it out. And they're just trying to like make sure that the generator is working, that everything is all good. And later on, as the storm is actually now approaching, we see Jack and Marcy, and they are walking along together on the lake. And it's like a very cute moment between just the two of them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are they like committed or what?
I don't know. That's such a great question.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't like know their backstory.
Okay.
Like, did they come to camp together already as a couple? Or
Right.
do they just night one, they're just diving right into a committed relationship?
Because then we see as they're canoodling on this cute shoreline, we see Ned watching them on some kind of pathway. And
He's like across the section of the lake from them.
why is he
Creepy.
over there?
I don't know. Ned?
Actually, he's about to die, so we'll give him forgiveness. Spoilers. But He's like creepily watching them as they mac out.
As they mac out.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, and as Ned is watching them mac out on the other side of the lake, like we said, he notices a person standing outside of a cabin. And Ned is sort of like, hey, bro, what are you doing? And as Ned approaches, goes into the cabin after the person, which is kind of interesting.
Why would you do that?
Knowing who the killer is in this film and how she's very trusting, like we talked about.
Okay.
I wonder if he's just curiosity killed the cat, right?
They killed the
Ned.
Yeah.
It's very true. And then we go back immediately to Marcy and Jack and their little intimate moment. And Marcy's talking with Jack about a reoccurring dream that she's had many times growing up. And she says in the dream, it's raining very hard and the rain ends up turning into blood. So when she's done with that story about the dream, we hear the thunder, we see some lightning, everything's kind of getting worse. It's about to definitely, I think it actually does start raining. And Jack says, oh, we're going to get soaked. We should get out of here. And so they go off to one of their cabins. As they, go into the cabin, things are getting hot and steamy and they start to have their sexy time in a bunk bed. And we're going to see this in a minute, but they are very, very unaware that Ned's body is in the bunk above them and that his throat is slit.
How the fuck do you not notice that if you're coming into
I agree. Like, how did you guys not see that at least Ned's... Like, maybe you didn't know he was dead, but you didn't see a body at the top?
Ned's dead.
It's dead. Oh, my God. Every time I say Ned, too, it reminds me of Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
Never seen it.
Awesome.
Yep.
Cool.
There's another one.
I also think that this scene is super hot because he lights a candle. And I just love a little candlelight. You know what I mean?
Is that safe though in a cabin?
No, but who fucking cares?
Who fucking cares?
You
Put all the candles up and just chance it.
Do it.
Okay.
I love it. So then back at the main building where the other counselors are hanging out, getting out of the rain, whatnot, Brenda, Bill, and Alice decide to play strip Monopoly to help pass the time. And Alice mentions being a little bit worried about Jack and Marcy getting soaked in the rain, seeing as that they're not back at the main cabin yet.
Is strip poker with your employers like a cool thing to do?
No. However, I will say this is 1980.
Oh, what a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive.
Yes.
So many things were loosey-goosey back then. And like we kind of mentioned earlier, we might not know who has known each other previously.
That's
and all
true.
Of that stuff.
I feel like none of them knew Alice beforehand.
That is true. But she seems like a little bit of an outlier.
So Jack and Marcy be having sexy ass time in a cabin, which is sketch in general. One thing to note is if I'm Kara Sedgwick, who is Kevin Bacon's wife, is this awkward?
Not at all. I would be like, hot as fuck husband. Hell yeah. Get it, girl.
For sure he's hot as fuck, but like also Hollow Man, like when he was doing that too.
So hot. How could you be like, how was I so attracted to a man that was invisible?
Same.
I'm glad we have that shared experience. Thank you.
I'm in. I'm down. But so after their sexy time, Marcy leaves to go use the bathroom. And I'm like, you go, girl. We know as women.
You got to go pee after you have sex. Let's just say it.
Let's just say it.
And honestly, for any girls that are not doing that, you need to be doing that.
You got to do it. Jack is like, come back quickly. And he's just chilling in his little bunk bed. And he's smoking a joint, actually.
Is it a joint or a cigarette?
Oh, I don't know. It's one of those things.
He's smoking something.
He's smoking something.
He's smoking the pot.
The pot? Okay.
The pot.
Yeah.
And he's just like the officer. Officer Dorff told him not to.
Well, exactly. Maybe that's why he smelled it on him earlier. And he sees a little blood drop go on his face from above, obviously. This flannel shirt arm grabs his head and stabs him from underneath through the neck with like an arrow.
Not just through the neck, through the bed, through the bed.
The bed and the spine.
And the spine. How does that work? Can I give a small anecdote? Okay, no one said yes, but I'm just going to do it anyway. Okay, so when I was 9 or 10 maybe.
I have no idea where this is going.
This is about like anatomy and maybe how the arrow was able to be stabbed through his spine. When I was 9 or 10, I was at a neighbor's house and their dad was a notorious fisherman. And I found a fishing hook, a pretty robust one, in the couch. As I grabbed it, it stabbed me in the middle finger through the center of my finger. And I don't understand how it worked because it seemed like it went through my knuckle. And I was so freaked out. I looked at it and I pulled it out immediately and then like went home and cried to my mom and like went and had to go get like a tetanus shot and everything. But it fully went through my knuckle somehow. I don't know how. So I'm just saying maybe the same logic is being applied here.
Okay.
That's it. It was just a personal anecdote.
I'm not sure how that literally makes sense. Oh, silent claps for Emma.
Snaps.
But still, a spine's a little different.
100% agree. But I'm just saying, even back then, I didn't understand how the hook made it through the side of my knuckle and my middle finger and came out the other side. Like,
you're
how?
lucky?
I have bone right there. How did that work?
Because you're lucky. It's a little different than an arrow.
Magic.
Because in the scene, the arrow literally comes out of the middle of his neck, which is pretty epic.
It is actually pretty epic.
But also like R.I.P. Jack / Kevin Bacon. We love you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Well, and then moving on, while Marcy is using the bathroom, she's so cute. She's at the bathroom mirror and she says a little Audrey Hepburn quote. I forget exactly what it is, but she's like talking to herself in the mirror. She's feeling all good. You know, she just had sex. The endorphins are high. She's excited.
What I hate about this is that why would she wear just underwear? And she has no shoes in the bathroom.
That is true.
Yeah. So I don't like that. But she is being a cutie patootie.
She's a cutie. Well, and she hears a door creaking. It's kind of opening and she's a little confused and she suspects that it might be Jack. And she hears some more noises, thinks that the counselors also might be playing a prank on her because of all the pranks that Ned's been playing since that day. It's been a lot going on that day. And she starts hearing a noise come from the showers. And so she starts to approach the shower area. And as she opens the shower blinds, she thinks like it's only her imagination like messing with her because she doesn't really see anything at first. But then from behind her, we see as the viewer in the shadows, an axe is raised as Marcy turns around. And then the axe is so epically slammed into Marcy's head.
Right into the dome.
It's fantastic. And I love just the shadow work of the axe.
Yes.
It kind of reminds me of Psycho with the knife in the shower scene. Probably the inspiration. I feel like there are some Psycho connections here, which I love. Then back in the main building, as Alice, Brenda, Bill, they're playing their Monopoly game, the storm ends up blowing a door open halfway through their game. And Brenda is like, oh, shit. She's realizing that her cabin windows are open. And she's like, you know what? We're going to call it a night. I'm going to head out. I got to go shut everything down and just like kind of get ready for bed. So she's calling it a night.
Is her raincoat like it?
I'm so glad you said that, Allie. That is all I could think about.
Like she's about to
time.
Go into a rain gutter.
Yep. Mm-hmm. She's
Or
probably making a little paper boat.
And there's going to be a balloon somewhere.
But you know what's even cooler is that it came out after this.
Yes. Oh.
I'm seeing a lot of inspo from this film.
Parallels. Yes.
Then we kind of hop scenes and we see Steve. So we're finally back with Steve, the camp owner and kind of the main guy that we already have talked about, that he's a hottie toddy.
Okay, you think he's a hottie toddy.
You literally said you agreed with me. We have it on record. You can't deny it. So anyways, we see him in town and he's at the diner, the one that Annie went to at the beginning of the film, and he's getting ready to head back to camp. He's got all of his rain gear on.
He also says like at the diner, he also mentions we have 6 new counselors and they're hot as fuck, basically. He left earlier that day. Why has he been in town for so long?
I mean, we don't know the errands he ran, the supplies
That's
he had
true.
to get. We don't know exactly
the drugs
how
he
far.
had to get.
The pot.
The pot.
He had to do the pot. He might have had to do the pot.
Maybe he just loves a good diner. Oh, anyway.
Hey, don't we all? As he is driving back to Camp Crystal Lake, and then partway down the road, his Jeep gets stuck in the mud, of course, because of all the heavy supplies that he's hauling, and he can't get it out. A passing police officer, luckily, comes by, offers him a ride back to camp. Then we are back at camp, so changing gears again. And as Brenda is getting ready for bed, she is like brushing her teeth, doing all this stuff in the camp bathroom, then brings herself back to her cabin. And as she's curling up with a book, we hear a childlike voice calling out to her from the storm.
She also be looking like Little House on the Prairie with her nightgown and her candle holder.
Dude, I feel like that was a very regular thing in the 80s.
A candle holder?
Even the nightgown. Like, think about like Sydney Prescott in Scream. Think about her nightgown. Remember how we talked about it?
Yeah, but
I just feel like those were the nightgowns of the time.
For sure. I guess we need to get some.
I'm like, do we need one? Well, Brenda, she's obviously unsure if there's another person or if there's like a serious call for help because it sounds like a child. And so she gives in and heads outside into the rain.
Random voices coming from the woods? No.
And as she steps outside, the outdoor lights come on. It reveals that she's walked into the archery range.
And this is where she was putting up that big ass target earlier. Essentially, this is
where she meets her demise.
Where she meets her demise. Yeah.
And as she is blinded by the light, she gets trapped by the killer because she can't see. We don't actually see her dying. She does die technically off screen, but it is alluded to that she's either stabbed or like
she's
shot with an arrow.
Yeah.
After Brenda's death, poor girl. Goodbye, Brenda. We see Bill returning to the main building after he was outside for a bit, and Alice tells him that she heard a scream and that she felt pretty certain that it was Brenda's.
Alice is like, it must be Jack and Marcy, and like, yeah, they must be up in heaven.
They'd be up in heaven.
Yeah.
Sorry.
R.I.P.
Well, the two of them head out to go investigate, and they go to Brenda's cabin where they find a bloody axe, the same one that was used to kill Marcy, and it's tucked in Brenda's bed like it was just a little sleepy guy sleeping there.
And why are you not more concerned? Because there's a bloody axe.
I think there's growing concern.
Fucking get yourself out of there. Whatever. Okay.
Sorry, I'm making a call back to, I labeled my notes growing concern at this part. So then they go and they search Jack and Marcy's cabin and then the bathrooms. Alice and Bill find no one around, and they start to suspect if this is some sort of a setup or a prank. And no, it's actually something very serious. But Bill during this entire time is trying to keep Alice calm.
Good for Bill. That's nice. My question is, again, I'm the question person. I apologize. How is the killer of this film also a CSI master? Just a crime scene cleaner-upper? Where's the blood?
I think one thing that the producer brought up while we were watching this film, and it's a very great question that I think we were going to tackle towards the end, but we can tackle it now, is knowing who we know the killer is, Miss Pamela Voorhees. How does she have the strength to do what she is doing with these bodies?
And the time.
It's all this is all happening in one afternoon/night. It's not even like morning to night. Like she's got like a good maybe like 6 to 8 hours.
Dude, we don't have even a 24-hour
turnaround.
Yeah.
100%.
Wow.
And she's doing a lot of bodies.
Somebody should hire her or something.
Except she died
yeah.
10 years ago, so RIP. So then anyways, Alice and Bill, they end up breaking into Steve's office.
And why would you break into the office? Shouldn't Alice have a key? She's like a manager there.
Good question.
I don't
know. I don't have an answer.
Thank you.
Yeah. And they find that the phone lines have been cut because they were trying to see if they could call for some help. Then they go to try to take a car to town, Jack's car specifically. And of course, they find that it won't start.
I want to know why none of these cars don't work in the rain. I can fix that.
I think that Miss Voorhees has ensured that you can't fix that, maybe.
She's a jack of all trades.
Yeah, I don't know how she's doing all this.
Yeah.
She cray.
I mean, also low-key good for her.
like her success rate has been high throughout this film.
Yeah. Her ROI has been.
Yes. Her ROI is the return on investment is high here. But obviously with a 20-mile-ish walk probably through pitch black forest and rain, it's kind of out of the question for Alice and Bill. And so the two kind of give up, but they decide that they're going to wait in the main lodge for Steve to come back, and they're going to try to like barricade it maybe as much as possible.
I also love that everybody keeps bringing up that it is Friday the 13th and it's a full moon. Ugh, don't you wish?
What a day.
What a day.
Me and Allie firmly believe that those are good luck days, not bad luck days. So we're very into that.
And we love people who acknowledge moon phases and spooky shit.
Yes, 100%. Meanwhile, as all this is happening, Steve is still getting his ride from the police officer. The officer, as he's driving Steve, gets a report of a serious accident in town, and he needs to drop Steve off like as close to camp as possible, but he can't take him really like straight there.
I don't understand why nobody can actually fulfill a ride.
I agree. It's like, it's so crazy to me. Like, why can't this happen? Come on, guys.
I know it's the 80s, but let's get a lift or a taxi. Let's get them to where
a taxi.
A to B. Come on,
B, baby. A to B. Or like, just drop me off real quick, officer, and then make your way back. You know,
genuinely.
So as Steve has to walk the rest of the way back, he is stopped by a person at the Camp Crystal Lake sign who has a flashlight and shines it onto him. And it seems like Steve recognizes the person, and he's asking like, hey, what are you doing? Like, why are you out in this mess of a storm? And then the killer stabs him.
Well, presumably, like the music alludes to.
Correct. We actually like don't see necessarily what happened.
He gets yeeted by the music, as we all do.
As we all do in different ways. Yes. And then arriving back at camp, we're seeing the killer point of view, and the killer goes to the power generator area, wherever like that's being held in whatever cabin, and of course disables it. And this forces Bill to go outside and investigate because he's trying to get that generator back up and working so that him and Alice at least have some power to the main cabin.
Meanwhile, Alice is asleep. How would you fall asleep after all of this tumultuous activity? Maybe booze and weed will do that to you.
I'm not going to lie. Like, I might also be able to fall asleep because I can fall asleep at any time, anywhere.
You have that gift.
There might be just so much adrenaline that she's crashing now for a sec. Like,
cool.
She's like...
Crash somewhere else.
Well, and the thing I want to note here is that Bill says the infamous last words, "I'll be right back."
Oh.
He don't fucked up. I'm sorry, but if Randy from Scream were here, he would have called this immediately.
He would have slapped us.
He would.
Or them.
Or Bill.
Yeah.
He would have slapped Bill. And of course, what do you know? When Bill does not return, Alice is super concerned. She's like, oh my God, where is Bill?
Yeah, but then she like goes to make tea. Bill's not back. But let's make some fucking tea.
But then she does head out to the generator cabin to try to look for him. And what does she find?
Arrows?
She finds Bill's body pinned to the door by several arrows, which goes back to the producer's question of how the hell did Miss Voorhees get that body up there with some arrows?
Now she's like finally fucking realizing that shit's
Shit's hitting the fan.
Yeah, it's not right. And so she home alones the fuck up to try and save herself. And then she kind of undoes it. But at least she tried.
She does try. She tries to barricade herself back in the main cabin now that she knows that she is alone and that someone is killing her friends. And after a couple moments of silence, you as the viewer, you're kind of like, oh, okay, is she safe for a couple moments? We see Brenda's corpse just yeeted through a window.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Brenda, but like epic also. If I was a dead body, that's like maybe what I would want to do is like be used to scare someone else. Is that weird to say? Sorry.
No. You speak your piece.
I'm sorry.
But I also want to know who Mrs. Voorhees' trainer is.
I think underneath, and we're gonna see her in a sec, but I think underneath that sweater and that little, she's like fucking ripped as hell. She has to be. That is literally the only explanation here.
She's Mrs. Trunchbull.
She's Trunchbull. Yep.
She's a shot thrower.
Yep. From Matilda.
Go Olympics.
Yep. Go Olympics. And Alice encounters Mrs. Pamela Voorhees for the first time. It's an interesting scene because Mrs. Voorhees rolls up to the cabin in her Jeep and acts.
Oh my God. Wait. Am I Mrs. Voorhees?
I think you are.
Holy shit.
I think you are. You might be.
I am a blonde bitch with a Jeep.
With a Jeep.
Okay.
With some killer instinct. No?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, and Mrs. Voorhees. I just really like calling her Pamela for some reason. But anyways, Mrs. Voorhees rolls up, and at first, Alice, of course, she is not thinking that Mrs. Voorhees is the killer. And so she's very trusting. She's like, hi, hello. I don't really know who you are, but can you please help me? My friends are being killed. And Mrs. Voorhees is like, oh, I'm a friend of Steve's family, basically. And don't worry, I will help you, all of this stuff. But then as they're talking, she eventually reveals herself to be the killer and explains to Alice that her son, Jason, was the one who drowned in the lake due to the negligence of the counselors.
Yeah, she's like, bitch, you guys did this to him.
Yeah, she's basically seeking revenge on all of these counselor people.
She says, you guys are too horny and you basically killed him.
Yeah, you guys weren't paying attention because you're idiots and you guys were smoking the pot and doing the sex. And it's
smoking the pot and doing the sex.
I think it's just there's just something about a mom that is so trusting. So I don't blame Alice. And looking back, I don't blame all the people that got killed by Mrs. Voorhees, because if you look back, most of them seemed very confused by the encounter.
For sure. She starts to, as she starts to turn, she says her voice turns just like in Psycho when Norman Bates kind of turns into his mother. She says,
yeah, that's such a good point.
She says, I am Jason.
She says that? Oh, I didn't even catch that.
And it's like in a different tone of voice. So, girl,
it's a little spooky.
You spooky, but you get that car that you joined this movie for.
Yeah. Well, and as Alice tries to escape, she finds Annie and Steve's bodies. Then her and Mrs. Voorhees engage in several epic fights, with Alice ultimately gaining the upper hand, and she decapitates Mrs. Voorhees with a machete.
Is that physically possible to decapitate somebody?
I'm going to say yeah.
Okay.
I'm trusting the process.
Okay, Keanu Reeves.
Okay. Oh, I love Keanu.
So, me too.
This scene is also an epic slow-mo of her chopping Mrs. Voorhees' head off. It's fantastic. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't expecting Alice to survive when I first ever watched this. She just doesn't seem like a final girl to me, but really happy for her that she made it through.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah.
She makes some wrong decisions towards the end.
She does.
After she decapitates Mrs. Voorhees, she decides to find recluse by going into a canoe on the lake. I'm not sure why that's your first your first thought to do that, but she goes in there. It's kind of Parent Trappy. And then she wakes up and it's morning and it's beautiful. This gorgeous lake.
It's an amazing scene of her kind of peeking out of the canoe and the glass just mirror image of the canoe on the lake with all of the trees in the background. It's a very beautiful shot.
What's kind of funny is she's got her hand dangling out of the canoe. Bitch, don't do that, please.
She is probably thinking in her head, oh, I have killed the killer. So I don't, I'm safe, but I do want to just kind of be in this canoe so that I'm isolated.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Let's get a taxi.
Let's get a taxi. We see cops show up to the scene as she's waking up from the canoe, seeing the cops are there to help her. We see that she is suddenly attacked by a decayed boy, and he pops out of the water and puts his arm around her neck and sort of brings her down into the water with him. And it is not clarified, but it's presumed that that is Jason. Then Alice wakes up in a hospital And she is told that they found her in the lake, but that there was no sign of a little boy or Jason or anything. And she insists that, I mean, if they didn't find him, that he must still be out there. And then the film ends with this beautiful shot of the calm lake. And this just sort of leaves like the fate of Jason and the future of Camp Crystal Lake very ambiguous. Like we don't know what happened, what's going to happen next. And I mean, all of us know there are so many Jason films. Like there's obviously more that's coming. But I also love the very final shot of her face in the hospital. And as it just fades, it has that fading transition to the calm lake.
Well, and it's also, she's like, fuck my shit. He's still there.
Yeah, she's definitely very worried. But yeah, that is our film. Allie, what were your final thoughts?
Oh my gosh.
Have you seen this before? Is that a dumb question? I'm so sorry. I don't know. I don't trust you anymore.
With my track record?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, I have. I see it through a different lens as an adult. Like I hadn't seen it for
a while.
And I can appreciate it, but did I like it?
Did you?
Not really.
I loved it.
I'm so happy for you. What were your final thoughts?
My final thoughts were, I actually did watch it maybe 2 years ago during Halloween. I try to watch it every year during spooky season just because it's such a classic.
I just think they could have sped it up a little bit.
I also just take it for what it is, like as a 1980 camp killing thriller, you know?
Like a cutie.
Yeah, I'm like, this is what it is. I love Kevin Bacon. I love Ralph. I love like so many aspects of this film. I love that Pamela is the killer and that we don't.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
We don't see Jason.
Yes, and we don't see the iconic Jason outfit in
or
this
mask.
or mask in this entire film. So we got to go watch the rest
Which
of them.
is so cool because like how many horror films can say that they didn't have the main franchisee character in it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and like even in Scream, when Ghostface is on the phone with Drew Barrymore's character, he asks her who was the killer in the very, very first Friday the 13th. And she says Jason Voorhees or Jason. And that is technically wrong. It's Pamela, baby. Pamela Voorhees.
Well, I mean, she's got some gumption.
She does.
Yeah.
Well, and did you think it was scary?
I had a couple jump scares, but no, not really other than that. Did you think it was scary?
No, I think we've mentioned on the pod a couple of times too that we don't see slashers as necessarily super scary, but I do agree that there were a couple maybe jump scares, and I think this scared me a lot when I was younger, when I first saw this film, but now I'm kind of like, oh, hell yeah, do your thing, Miss Voorhees.
Miss Voorhees.
Pamela, if you're nasty.
Pamela, if you're nasty. I love it. So no, it wasn't like scary, but it's a classic.
What was your favorite scene?
Oh my God.
Would you say?
Kevin Bacon and his little Speedo thing.
Like when they pan up from Brenda's face to his wang in the Speedo.
He had his little tan line and everything.
Mine also involves Kevin Bacon, and I think my favorite scene was him getting stabbed with the arrow through the neck. It's just so classic.
I know.
It's so good.
That is a core memory of mine from when I was like even...
Same. That's probably why we both
10.
like it.
Yeah.
And we just love some Kevin Bacon.
I love me some bacon.
All right, everyone. Well, that was our episode for today. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks. If you want to send us messages, let us know how you liked this episode. If you just love the podcast, please leave us a good review or just tell a friend. We would love if you shared our thoughts and our podcast with the horror community. We love everybody, and we love you all so much.
Listen to the town drunk who says the place is cursed, because they're probably right. If you're too horned up, maybe don't be a camp counselor, and stay spooky fuckers.